Hey, welcome back, everybody. I hope that this is one of the last times that I'm going to be coming to you for this year in a hoodie. It looks like we're getting close to spring. We got the bees out. We got all the fruit trees are blossoming. My elm trees are already starting to leaf out and everything else. So hopefully this is it. But anyways, this video I wanted to do because I saw something that really, it killed me last weekend. So after our freeze over Christmas time, you know, obviously Sabals had some browning of leaves and stuff like that, and the fronds turn brown, which is normal. It's gonna happen. Saw a house that has two really big palmettos, huge, probably 10 feet of trunk, if not more. Got those planted last year, and the one thing I noticed was that as I drove by, it looked like they had a heck of a haircut. They cut off a bunch of the fronds, unfortunately. So I wanted to do a quick little video just for everybody out there, just so you know when to prune and when not to prune and what to prune. So I'm going to walk through an example. So in that case, what's called the petioles. So hold on, let me turn my camera around here and show everybody. So these things right here, right? When you see that these are green, these are totally green, but the tops are a little brown, leave them alone. Do not get rid of them. Don't cut them off. Because if you cut this off, even though this is brown, and it might not look too pretty, all this green is still doing something for the recovering palm here. So in the case of the individuals that I'm talking about, that palm, they just got rid of some huge petioles. And I mean, these things were probably 3 inches wide. They were big, not like these little guys. So they just took a lot of sustenance away from a recovering palm, which is really only going to hurt it. But if you need to cut off the brown ones, go as close as you can, snip, and that's it. But again, guys, these may look a little bit ugly. You may not be happy with the way they look, but do not cut these off unless they're totally brown. And I'm going to walk around. I'm going to walk around and show you a couple more. So here's a good example, actually. My little assistant here. Thanks, Theo. So here's a great example. It's brown. This is one of the older fronds. But if you notice, this is still green. So this is one that we do not want to cut, guys. Leave this one alone. It is still doing something. It may still be, just like this one he's pointing out. It's got some brown, but there you go. There's the green. So that green is still doing something for this palm. And so this is a Sabal palmetto. This is a Lisa variety. This thing is going to get pretty nice this year. It's starting to get a little bit large and fat toward the base. So this thing's going to expand. I'm pretty excited about this one. I have a couple of Lisas, and I'm going to walk you over to a couple other ones. So let's take a look at this Louisiana over here. This guy didn't suffer any damage over the freeze. Got tons of water here this week. And this one, even though some of these are brown again, these are brown. The base is still green. Leave it alone. Do not cut it off. Please, people, do not hurt your palms anymore. And it's natural as they get older. To turn brown. This frond has been here a while. But the new ones are perfect. This thing is just about to leaf out another spear. And we're going to see some development here. But like, same over here. This is the initial split leaf from a while ago. It may not look that nice, but leave it alone. Do not cut it off. I'm telling you guys, you're going to cause way more damage and do more harm than you are going to do good. I'll walk you over to another example, prime example. Here's a Bermudana. So while you would be tempted, to cut these off because they look ugly, they still are providing some sort of nutrition for this palm. Do not cut it off. Even here, I mean, if you want to get crazy, this is kind of already dead. You can cut it off here. I leave these alone. There's no reason to mess with this thing. You still have some green. It's still doing its job. It's helping the palm out. I mean, technically, you could cut up here. And if you really want to get fancy, this one's kind of brown. What you can do is kind of give it a tug, see if it comes out easily. If it does, it's ready to come out. But if not, Just leave it alone, guys. Here's the new spear that was inside of this thing over the cold event. As you can see, I'll go to this side. This guy's alive and he is growing. I think he realizes that spring has sprung. So let's hope that that's the case. I'm gonna walk you through to a couple other ones. So we're gonna walk over here to Sabal Row, which I have my Urensis, which was the it was one of my, or is one of my favorites rather. Sorry, not was. This one got a little bit banged up over the cold weather. This thing was beautiful, but see, I can begin to start cutting these off at some point here. This is all brown, kind of brown here, but I'm just gonna leave this alone. Here's one, right? See if this thing comes out. This thing can probably get cut here pretty soon. Still has a little bit of green, so it still has some connective tissue there. Leave it alone. I mean, if you're really concerned about aesthetics, I guess, but you're going to hurt the palm itself, the plant itself, because you're concerned about aesthetics. And this thing has been pushing this spear now for a while, and there should be another one somewhere down in there. But all this is green, it's coming. This is all post the cold weather. No spear pull, absolutely not a problem. This thing may look a little bit ugly for a little bit, but I mean, technically you could probably cut these, but I'm gonna give it till the springtime to let these things completely get brown. And my rule of thumb is I let this thing get brown all the way down to the base. Once it's brown all the way down to the base, like probably this guy over here, I can get rid of this one over here. Get close, give her a snip, problem solved. So that's an easy one. Here's a Bermudana as well. You know, you're tempted. You say, man, this looks ugly. Looks ugly. I don't like this. This is a Bermudana. But you can see it took some damage over the wintertime, but there's that brand new spear. It's growing. It's pushing. This spear didn't suffer any damage. You know what? It's just that 10 degrees. They don't like getting hit with 10 degrees. I mean, I don't blame them. I don't like it either. But this one still has lots of yellow, lots of green. Leave this thing alone. Let it do its thing. Let it help this palm recover. And actually, I was going to go walk you over to our hybrid, our Butia Jubea, and show you how that one looks. So, lovely weather here today. It's nice. It's in the 60s today. It's going to be beautiful. So let's go take a look at the Butia Jubea. And I'm going to do a video on the Lisas today because they look incredible. Shocked how nice they look. So let me show you this guy. So here's the one I did the teaser video with. I did the short. So some of these guys, you can tell, I mean, even these guys, as much as I would like to cut all this off, kind of looks ugly. This is one of the older ones. It's still doing something. Even this guy, still green. This guy, I wonder if you could give him a tug and see what happens. Nope. Man, this thing is getting fat. Holy cow. This thing has probably doubled since last year. And just for reference, this is a bigger one. Look at that. This thing is fatty. Woo. I love this thing. This is a beauty. I'm glad I threw some heat and frost cloth on this thing. But like, you know, I think the common mistake would be to take this thing and say, oh, these look rough. Doesn't look all that great. Guys, unless it's really causing you some harm, leave it alone. Eventually, the palm will let it go, and then you can cut it off once it's completely brown. But let it do its thing. It's helping this palm out. It's giving it some sort of nutrition, especially coming out of the wintertime. Every little bit of nutrition is going to help. But this thing is absolutely beautiful. Leave it alone. Do not cut these things back. Kind of try to hold back your urge for aesthetics and looks. And remember, this is it's about your palm, not about you. Here's a Bermudana, my other one, that got a little bit banged up too. Sorry about that. So here's one that got banged up a little bit. Actually, I would say a lot of it. 2 years in a row. This one's got some brown. It's still pretty hard down here and stiff, so I'm not going to cut that off. I mean, to be honest with you, this thing looks pretty ugly from here. I mean, it really does. Not going to lie. But it's doing its thing. It's pushing up all new growth. This is all green. We're in good shape. This guy's going to start to take off once we get it into the spring and the summertime. He just needs some heat. We got 1.5 inches of water yesterday, and now we're getting sun for the next couple days. So, boy, that's going to help. And again, I could probably start to cut these off, but I'm going to do what's best for my palms. I'm going to leave these alone and let it grow, because once I see this thing start taking off, those will die and they'll fall off, and we'll go from there. Here's the rosy eye, which, by the way, again, I'm telling you, I'm shocked. This thing looks as good as it does. This thing's a beauty. This thing doesn't have anything that needs to be cut off. I mean, these things look ugly. They do. It is what it is. There's nothing here that needs to get cut. And you can see this thing is putting out a second spear. 2 in 1. That's how you know they're starting to really get comfortable in the ground and begin to take off. And then finally, I'm going to show you, I think, one of the ones that definitely needs a bit of trimming soon is our windmills. Our Trachycarpus fortunei. So this guy, I do the same thing on these. I mean, man, I'm telling you, after a tough winter, we get plenty of spotting. These look rough. They look ugly. The weight and the wind start to push these things around. This one's going to be ripe for the cutting soon. Not yet. This one's going to be ripe for the cutting soon. I think it's kind of getting there. But again, these things saw cold weather. Leave them alone. Give them a chance to recover. And we're going to... Oh, I know this thing is recovering because this was just shut a few days ago. Tug on the spear. Ugh, absolutely tough. Nothing. These things are not spear pulling. Hello, 10.6 degrees. And this guy made it through 2021 here in Texas. That thing can get cut. So see, that's a good one. Let me grab my little clippers here. So as you're walking around these things, you find one that you see and say, don't need you anymore. Give her a clip. You see, I did that. I cut the old petiole here. Yeah. Here's Theodore asking me what I'm cutting. He's getting interested. He's a mini palm guy. But yeah, see, these are ugly. But you see, there's green. Leave them alone. Do not cut these off. Resist the urge. Yeah, they're bad. Yeah. Resist the urge to cut, guys. Let them go and recover. And I think it's probably all I'm gonna walk through. I mean, you know, our riverside looks awesome. There's nothing that is brown. This thing's on. Just so everyone can see, I can't show this palm off enough. This thing's incredible. I absolutely love it. Looks beautiful through all this weather. And I think that's probably the only other one I was going to walk you guys through. But just, you know, honestly, resist the urge to cut these things. I'll show you our other Trachycarpus that looks a little bit rough. Same thing. It's just the winter. See? Look at this. So this guy, I mean, you can look at this petiole right here, or I mean, this is frond, brown as could be. There's still plenty of green. This is an older one. These just come right off, actually. So this one's just brown all the way. Give her a snip, call it good. You see, this thing is growing. This thing, interestingly enough, you can probably see, in 2021, this thing was cut right here. This died. Spear pulled, didn't come back, so I pulled the saw out, trunk cut the trunk clear across, boom. Within hours, it already grew, pushed a spear, and this is what it looks like 2 years later. So going, this is actually year 3. So 21, 22, and 23. Look at how tall she's gotten. This thing is getting big. He has to help out. Oh no, that's definitely not a branch. So you can see, I mean, even just resist the urge. This thing looks brown and old, but it's green. I'm telling you guys, leave it alone. And also, we're just gonna take a quick little tug on the spear just to see. Nope, no spear pull. This thing can take 10.6 degrees. This thing took -2. Even though it got a cut of the trunk, it grew back. So this thing earned a spot in my yard. It's not going to go anywhere. I'm not a big fan of Trachycarpus, but it's going to stay here. So it's my little PSA for today, guys. Don't go cutting everything. Leave your love of aesthetics out of it. Let your palm come back and grow and recover. It's important. They need all the energy they can get, especially for all you guys up north. Our spring's nothing. Our winter pretty much is nothing. But for all you guys up north, leave your things out there. Let them grow. Leave them alone. Let them all do their thing. And once they come back and bounce back, then you can start to do your pruning. But just leave stuff alone until it's completely brown. So it's my little PSA for today. If anybody has any comments, please, I'd love your comments and feedback and thoughts. So like and subscribe, because as I get a whole lot more of you guys on this channel, I can do some other stuff after I get to 1,000 users. So please like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think and what you want to see a video of. Have a good one, guys.